Welcome back, everyone, to, as Bobby C sees it, it's Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast. Stay tuned today. I know this podcast is going to either I'm going to either lose some followers or subscribers or whatever people that kind of listen, or I'm going to gain some. It doesn't really matter. I just have to be honest. I just have to be honest with myself where I'm at today. Listen, I didn't write any books, so I can change my views. I can change my mind. I could go different places with my thinking, my consciousness, my awareness. Today, I want to talk about the relationships I had through Alcoholics Anonymous, the ones that I developed. And I say I'm not saying we, I say I developed because that these things that I'm going to be talking about, I understand today as a choice, as I chose people to come into my life. I want to talk about a bunch of loving, beautiful friends that I've made in Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, through Alcoholics Anonymous. And the different meetings I went to, because those two were choices. So maybe this message is it's for me to be honest and to share these things, but hopefully it's for someone listening. And that doesn't mean Bobby C is not going to still deprogram, because I'm going to separate the friendships and the different choices I made, the different meetings, different places I went to. And yes, these different places did help me expand my consciousness and awareness. They were a pointer. As everyone knows, I believe I was the way, just like Jesus says, you're the way. I am the way. When he said that, he meant to say it. I am the way. So I'm going to go to different places in my life. Let's start from the beginning, when this gentleman, Lonnie, who I never knew, and he's still a friend of mine today, 40 years later. He's still a friend. He lives in South Carolina. He wouldn't mind me mentioning him at all. I love him today. I loved him back then. My wife knew his wife, and she sent him over because I asked for help. I asked for help. I said, yeah, I want help. I decided, it came from me. This power, this higher self, this power, this universal law that came from inside of me through cause and effect and the consequences of that, which is karma. It's action. The cause and effect and the consequences of my behavior throughout time. And at the end, I said, yes, I want help. I wanted help. And that's the only thing that I see. I'm right now, I have someone real super close to me, and I've been watching their behavior for years. And I'll say he is willing to get help. Now, what I can do, I can inspire, I can point the way, but it's going to be up to him. It's got to come from him. So he's going to choose to either follow the path that he chooses, because substance use has gotten in his way big time. I'm not going to say who it is, because I still believe in anonymity, and people that I just believe in anonymity for people that, he wouldn't want me to say his name or whatever. And that would be his choice if he decides to do it. I say anonymous addiction because there are people that want to stay anonymous, okay? But most of us, I don't give a crap, and I'm sure he won't, and he won't either, probably in a month or two. And he's not choosing to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. He's doing some smart meetings, and he's doing some outpatient, and he's deciding he's got a little Recovery Dharma book, so he's trying some other avenues. But getting back to my relationships when I first started coming. So Lonnie comes to me. I said, yes, he comes in my house. He became my friend. People want to call it sponsors, but he became a friend of mine that I trusted. Okay. I actually admired him. I trusted him. Never seen him with a big book. He didn't bring a big book in my house. He didn't bring the steps. He just talked one-on-one, a man to another man. And he asked me if I wanted to go to a meeting with him. And I told him which one. I said, yeah, I'll go Sunday. I'm sucking on this thing. I'm sorry, but I said, yes, I'll go. And he took me, of course, to my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Lonnie never got the big book. I don't even think Lonnie studied a big book or a step book at that time. We never talked about steps. We never talked about the big book. Matter of fact, I didn't go to a step meeting for a year. So that tells me right there. I mean, if I look back, and what I was doing is I was experimenting. I wanted it. So it didn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go. It's the mindset of wanting. Desire, the definition of desire means wanting. So I wanted it. It didn't matter if I went to a step meeting or not. I wanted it. So later they'll tell you, well, alcohol is only a symptom. Yes, it is. But it's not what they're talking about with the 12 steps, and then you get to a spiritual awakening at the end of the 12. No, the spiritual awakenings happen many times, even before I said yes to this time. And this was a spiritual awakening, I consider. Some people don't like the word, I like universal law. I don't use the word God much because that's been abused and abused and misused throughout. I just don't like it. I like higher consciousness. I like higher self. I like universal law. I like being part of this whole cosmic, law, natural law. So he took me, he picked me up. I loved having a friend. He was a big dude. He was a carpenter. Back when I grew up 40 years ago, when I came in, all my friends were in construction. I lived back in South Jersey. All my friends were in construction anyhow. Everybody knew how to do a little bit of everything. My dad I knew electrician, I knew a plumber, I knew a carpenter, I knew a bricklayer, I knew, that's the way it was back in South Jersey. The trades are getting big again now. Let's get back. Okay. So Lonnie comes over, and Lonnie and Dolly. So his wife, he had 2 girls. I had 2 girls, 2 daughters. My wife hung with his wife. He hung with me. We didn't sit around doing steps or anything. The thing that I'm getting at is he became a friend of mine. It wouldn't even mattered if I was going to AA. I could have been going to somewhere else. He could have took me somewhere else. Didn't matter. But I admired the guy. I liked the guy. And here's the key. I wanted it. Period. Did I do a bunch of stuff that were suggested? Yes, I did. Because I wanted it. I took it serious. People around me could see I was taking it. Was I still an angry son of a bitch? Was I still crazy and all that other stuff that they talk about with the character defects and all that, the ism that they talk about? Yeah. I had all that. All the ism, I had them. I still have them today. That's the dark side of my shadow. Okay. That's shadow work. I mean, there's no big, Carl Jung talks about it. Bill W. never went to Carl Jung anyhow. But yes, I'm not denying that. And people say, don't use the word denial. Denial's deep. It runs deep. It's real. You can use other words. I don't care what words you can. We could fake this thing out and say, look, all the stuff from Alcoholics Anonymous is all borrowed and taken from every other thing there is and put into here. Rockefeller did that. Genius. He was a genius in doing it because he knew all about the occult. Occult just means hidden knowledge. He knew stuff that we didn't know because we're now intellectual immature. So he comes around. So Dolly, we hang around, we go to parties, we go over his house, we eat cake, have coffee, blah, blah, blah. I had fun. Then I meet Nick N, his friend. Nick N, I loved him. He lost his license for 5 years. We went to meet, I'm not going to deny that I didn't have fun. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you had a really shitty experience and in the beginning. Now I'm not defending Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. What I'm doing is defending myself and saying that I chose and I picked some key people and key friends and went to different meetings that I chose. I didn't go to I didn't like clubs. I came in at 34. I'm 73 now, so figure it out. I didn't like clubs. People go to clubs. Okay, that's your choice. Go to clubs. I think clubs are the most toxic environment anyone can go. I wouldn't send anybody that needed help to a club. I'm not saying that I'm better, but I wouldn't. I never went to. I didn't like conferences. I didn't like conventions. I didn't like speakers meetings. I don't know, way back then, I liked open discussion. Little by little, I got to meet other people, Bill, and we had a little group of people. We hung out. I used to have softball meetings across the street from my house. I had barbecues. We didn't talk. I didn't have a meeting in my house. We didn't talk steps. We didn't talk program. Okay. It was a bunch of, you could call it a fellowship, whatever you want. I just call it just friends, just like everybody else has in the world. You know what I mean? Not that I didn't have other friends on the outside of program. I hung with my brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws, and we had parties and, a couple other friends. I did stay away in the beginning. I stayed away from my old friends that used to, do a lot of drinking and drugging. I chose to do that because I thought it was the statistical, it was just better. It was a, better choice. I just visited, I went back to Jersey and I just visited one of my good friends, Joey V, man. We hooked up. He was still at the bar. We went for lunch, me and my wife and a couple of people. We went to lunch and he was sitting at the bar. He had one drink or two drinks. He was picking up a keg going over to Knights of Columbus or whatever. And he don't have a problem. Look, he lived all these years. I was affecting other people. Okay. I was affecting other people. There's people that drink. People call them alcoholics. They call them functional alcoholics. I don't use the word alcoholic anymore. Okay. There's so many different layers of they call it substance use disorder, and process addiction, which, there is. Addiction is real. And if you don't think it is, there's so many layers of it. If you don't think it is, someday, hopefully, the universe doesn't allow it to happen to you, but somebody in your family close to you, so close to you, has a real problem and is creating a lot of super damage in their lives. And you can't change them. We know that, but we can still not discard them and throw them in the streets and get rid of them and treat them like they're not human beings. They're human beings that need love, support, guidance, inspiration, and help. And if they're not willing to take it, that's like this God they talk about. I am God, so I'm God, this universal code, this code, so it comes down. I'm God. I'm passing on some wisdom and knowledge and into and natural law to another human. If they're not willing to take it, that's sad. I mean, it's sad. Anybody that's listening to this, that's going through this and goes through it, mostly parents, grandparents, loved ones, mother, brother, husband, wife, grandkids, kids, friends. I don't care who it is. Somebody that's really gone through this understands what I'm talking about. Addiction and process addiction, substance use addiction and process use addiction is real. I got a call from Jersey. I'm going to not answer it. It's real. It's painful. It's painful, very painful. And it hurts. People think when I use the word again because people can relate to it, denial. I say it runs deep. They believe exactly what they believe. I mean, that's real. We can help people, but we just can't change it. And they say the serenity prayer, I don't use God. I say, grant me serenity. I don't even, when I say my prayer, I say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this mental, because it's a mind thing. It's a thinking thing. It's a thinking thing. It's a conscious thing. It's a subconscious, unconscious. It's this in here. Where the gift is to go down and seek it. Excuse me. It's been raining out here for the last 2 days. I'm in Southern California, Huntington Beach. It's been raining. It's been crazy out here. I like the sun of God. You want to use the word again, the Son of God. Without that sun, we're screwed. The sun, I love the sun. I love the sun of the universe. Some people like rain, but that's okay. Okay, getting back to my relationships, and then I meet Katie J. I love Katie J. These people that I knew were loving, caring. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the people. I'm not talking about all of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not talking even about. I'm talking about the relationships that I had, and maybe someone can relate to this, and they can say, "Oh, I can still deprogramming. I still can deprogram from Alcoholics Anonymous because I know has a cult mentality, and it's really kind of toxic for my growth." But I'm going to share all the years that I spent and what I did. I wasn't, there's layers of the cult mentality. Go talk to somebody in Scientology or any other cult, and I'm sure they'll tell you. Maybe they won't, but I'm telling you. There's layers in the Society of Alcoholics Anonymous. Up top is the fanatic with big book thumpers that believe everything in there. They don't. That's the religious top of the cult thing. I probably was in the middle. Okay. I know a friend of mine over there in Florida. He was probably at the top at the thing, and you really, I think you get way more programmed. You get way more indoctrinated. You get way more brainwashed the higher you go. Okay. So for the people that are just coming into Alcoholics Anonymous, listen, think, question, observe, and become aware. Don't run. If you really want it, you're going to get it. You can go anywhere. Okay. They say it works if you work it. Yeah, they know it works if you work it. Anything. I don't care. I'm doing this right now. This will work if I work it, because I plugged all this computer in and did what I had to do. And I took some notes before. Yeah, it works. It works if I work it. Some of these little things that came from all over the place, people want to deny everything, every slogan, everything. There's no truth in it. There's no wit. Yes, there is. Okay. But when you decode when you decode the whole process, when you decode it, you'll know that it's a true religion, and it's manipulative and it's BS because you don't get there through the steps. The steps take you to one place, and that's God, but the religious God and the church God. I mean, AA is like going to a church, you know, and it's a religious God. I mean, how many steps are mentioned God in it? It's all to take you to God, A, B, and C, that God wouldn't, could if he were sought. Okay, getting back to relationship. So I got Katie J, I got Lonnie, I got Katie J. Come a little bit. These people. So I spent many years. Then I moved to Arizona. Then I get in Arizona and I hook up with a meeting that I chose, and it wasn't a good meeting in the beginning. I didn't like it. It was a bunch of control freaks that kind of were trying to manipulate and control the whole meeting and tell you what to do and tell you your agenda. And I didn't like that. I started my own meeting out in the other thing. This priest at the church, I talked to him. He let me start the own meeting. It's called the Winners Group. I started the Winners Group in Fountain Hills like 30 years ago or more, 30 years ago, because that came from me. I started it. I wanted it. See, that's the power. That's the power that we possess. Now, I could have started a smart recovery meeting. I mean, I did eventually. I'm a smart recovery facilitator, and I started smart meetings, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago. We could do whatever we want to do. You could create your own. We're always creating our own program. Always. Always. The point is, I'm not trying to brag and make myself special. I'm just trying to point out that it comes from us, our desire, what we think about, what our thoughts project. We manifest this stuff through cause and effect, the consequences of cause and effect, good, bad, and everything else between, the karma that comes out of it. Here, cause. I take a drink. Some people, look, I take a drink, I take a couple drinks, I take a couple. The effect could be, I said could be, DUI, car crash, killing somebody else. That's the effect. The cause always can be controlled. We create the cause. It comes from us. We create the cause. The effect, it's done. Once it's done, we got no control over it. That's done. These are Hermetic laws. This is the seventh principle, I think, cause and effect. I'm not, like an expert on natural law, but the consequence of that cannot be undone. Only the cause can be changed from here, from our emotions, from our knowledge, from our wisdom, from our learning, from our higher self, from our higher consciousness, awareness. It comes from us, or maybe a lot of it comes from the ether, from out here it comes in. Well, I could talk a little bit about that a little later. So let's get back to relationships. So I moved to Fountain Hills, Arizona. I find friends there. I make friends there. There's a guy named Joe G. He had I don't know how many years when I moved there. He was a nice guy. I don't even think he died with over 50 years. I don't think he ever had a sponsor. I'm telling you, I don't think he ever had a sponsor. Okay. But that's, I'm not judging him. He was a big high stake, good guy, and So I meet Marvin from New York. He comes into the meeting. Then I meet Judy. Then I meet Nana. Nana has Marshall as a friend. Later on, she gets married. Judy, I meet her husband. Marvin, I meet Lynn. Smoking Marvin. That's, we smoked a lot of cigars together back in the patio. We hung out together. We didn't do this to people. I didn't sponsor people back then. I always told people I don't sponsor. I'll be your friend. If you want some suggestions, if you ask me, I'll give them to you, but I didn't even believe in sponsorship. People usually got sponsors through guilt and shame. They never even used them. Okay. So Jeff M became my sponsor. I love the guy. He had a wife, beautiful, beautiful family. Marcia, Jeff M. He became what you want to call sponsor because I picked one because I felt guilty. If I didn't have one, oh, I'm not working the program. It's all bullshit. So he became my friend. I just knew he was my friend, and I didn't do no book. One time I sat with him and did a 4-step and whatever. And if you really get into these steps, all it is your own journaling shadow work that every motivational anybody that knows about uncovering, recovering, discovering the truth about ourselves knows that process. You could check into it anyway. Let me get back to Jersey a little bit more. Now, I was there for probably 8 years. I don't know when. Would I have 8 years when I left? But I don't know, 6 years. But I was going to. I did one-on-one group therapy. I did one-on-one. Loved the lady. I did, and then I had a man. I was wearing a hairpiece back then. I was mad. I had to take my hairpiece off. He learned me how to accept myself. So I went with Lenny. Lenny, his name was. He passed away, but he was my one-on-one therapist. And then this other gal I went to. Then I started group therapy. Group is where I really got. They were starting it, and that wasn't AA. This was not AA. This was a sliding scale. I think it cost about $20. I learned stuff about myself in the group because they confronted me in the group. They had enough guts to confront me. And then I got involved with a lot of people that were in Codependency Anonymous. But these people, I didn't get into, I read a little bit about, there was some good in there too. There was some good in here. I went to ACOA. I got some ACOA books and read a little bit about that. I never became a fanatic, but I just learned. It was like I took a little piece of this, a little piece of that, a little piece of that, just like I did when I left Alcoholics Anonymous. I still do today. Take a little piece of this, a little piece of that. I'm not into one person. I'm not a fanatic. I don't think I ever was. I don't know why. Don't be a fanatic. Fanaticism. Look it up. So, where was I? So I'm going to code. Then I'm going with some guys, a bunch of men, Iron John group. They were kind of like hippie type, but we sat, we read books, and we talked about men's stuff. I got into a bunch of stuff with that. I met the priest that I did my first 4th step and 5th step with. He took off his collar and he started a a whole new beginning groups outside of all the different ACOAs. He started his own deal, and I would go to some of those things. But I went out. I wanted it. I had a thirst. I had a thirst for this stuff. Was I addicted to this stuff? Yeah, people could say I was. Was I addicted to learning more about my awareness, my consciousness, my gifts, my skills, my inside, outside, the world's programming? That's how I discovered. How do you think I discovered I was being programmed? I had to know that I was being programmed, and I learned from outside of the AA meetings and 12-step modality, dogmatic paradigm. Mark Passio, I started listening to him, Jordan Maxwell, David Icke, and all the rest of it, Max Egan, and different other stuff. And I started to deprogram from not just Alcoholics Anonymous is just a small little part of this indoctrination of. There's cults right now that are telling you things that are cults. If you see 2 people preaching you, not letting other people come in and talk, just 2 people, they got books, they got big books, and they're telling you this is the way because they did these research. All research can be manipulated. and made you believe whatever they want you to believe. All of it, you know. I don't care who it is. So I get Lonnie's still a friend of mine. Let me just look at some of these. I did this guy Mike, Chef Mike, I call him. I sponsored. I I I friended him. I didn't sponsor him. He became my friend. I told him right from the get go, you know, I'll be your friend. You can hang with me or call me anytime you want. Smoking Marvin, I love Smoking Marvin. I used to hang with him all the time. He used to let me stay at his house when I moved over to back and forth to California. But back there at Katie J, she used to run meetings. I mean, she was like a guru. Katie was. Then I had Jim over there in Arizona, and his wife. Her name's not coming to me, but they were kind of deep into it. They were on the top, but they were nice, loving. We didn't talk AA when I hung out with her, or she called my daughter up and needed help. We didn't talk AA. We just talked life, friendship. If you got somebody pounding the crap out of you with this AA book and 12-step book and telling you better do it this way and do it that way, find another friend or leave there and go find another different program, you know, because it's all coming from you no matter what. But if you're staying in Alcoholics Anonymous and that's what you choose, listen to this podcast, okay? And if you're staying and you're getting something out of it, if you're on a low level of it, you're not doing anything, you're just going to meetings, you maybe have one friend, you can relate to something, you're doing a bunch of other things, maybe you're working out hard, you're running, you're hiking, you're getting into shape, you're watching your diet. If you're not, I don't care if you're not. Or if you're not abstinent and you're just dabbing, you're finding out that you can control your drinking after, I would say, anybody that thinks they could just quit and then control it, if you're like deep into drinking for years or using for years, I wouldn't recommend that. No, and if people say you could just do it like that, they're crazy, because these people that are telling you that you can, they've been around for years and years and years, so they have the knowledge and the skill and the wisdom to be able to tap in and control a lot of their feelings, thinking, emotions, and all that up. They have a mindset that you don't have, maybe. Okay, so don't believe that you don't need 90 days of types of new type of information or a year. Yeah, you could celebrate for a year too, but after that, it's like you're either going to want the new lifestyle, and if you can control your drinking, you're going to dib and dab in it a little bit. You're going to find out what triggers you to drink more, or you're going to get in trouble. You don't know how to, you know, monitor that. But now, nah. And smoking pot, I mean, some people I know smoke pot since they were 17 and they're 60 now. I mean, and they live good lives, 2 pensions, work every day. So, you know, I'm not even going there with that. So, you know, if you're into medical assistance, Sinclair method, that's your choice. You know, that's not mine, but that's your choice. That's great. Or if you're into any other type of stuff. Me personally, I dive into all the governmental interventions, and which I'm very leery of anything that the government gets their hands on. Okay, me personally. But of course, I said when I deprogram, I'm deprogramming everything in the world, not just Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's all the government, media, religion, medical field, Hollywood, you name it, anything that we listen to. Now, getting back to the friendship, me and my wife had good times. We went to dinner, we went to movies, we went to comedy shows, we did stuff, not with a bunch of people, just Arnie and Joni. You know, it was a thing where me and my wife could join healthy people. Okay, now I don't care if they were in smart recovery or if they weren't in no recovery, because I could have seeked these people out without any Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. But in the beginning, I didn't have any skills. Okay, I didn't have I was emotionally on the low end. Okay, I wasn't high emotional behavior. I didn't have any behavioral health skills, so it took me a while. But yeah, I could have seeked them out. Today, I do seek them out like that. I seek out healthy, loving, caring relationships. Will I help anybody? Am I judging people? Maybe I am. Maybe I have a discernment about people. Will I help anybody? Yeah, I'll help people. I'll help people. Yeah, but it's what I want. It comes from me, whatever I desire, what I choose. So getting back to friends again, I'm always getting back to friends. I'm getting back to meetings too. I choose and create these meetings. I choose where to go and I choose where to not go. Okay. I don't know. Did I think I was special? Yeah, I did. Did I think I deserved, what do they say about a meeting? The only meeting that's no good is the one you didn't go to or something. I don't know. They got so many damn things. That's bullshit. Don't believe that. There's bad meetings, okay? And there are some that are okay and better, and some are good. But I'm not telling you to stay in there and be brainwashed and indoctrinated into the system and into the organization, into society of the 12-step modality of the 12-step paradigm. I'm not telling you to do that. All I'm saying is there's some things in there. After you find out consciousness and go further out by thinking, questioning, observing, and becoming aware of yourself, move on. That doesn't mean you have to leave your friends. I only have probably 3 friends that go to alcohol, maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I can't even say 5, maybe. I talk to 1 or 2 occasionally. I've been married 52 years. I'm going on 53 years. I have grandchildren. I have 7 grandchildren. I have 2 daughters. I'm a family man. I love my family. Okay. Do I travel and go places and I hang out with other guys? Yeah. I'm getting hooked up with. Hopefully, when I go, I'm going to take a trip back to Fountain Hills and stop and see Boo Boo Garcia. I call him Buddha Garcia over there that does a podcast with broadened lens. I think I said it right. I don't know. There's a lot of people. There's a guy in Florida, Unconquered Heel, and Renee. I call him Renee Pierre the Third over there in Florida, Unconquered Heel. And he's great. These people are beautiful people, and I would trust them. Okay. Ash over there in Arizona, indoctrinated no more. I would go over there. I would trust these people because these people are good, wholesome, loving, caring human beings. Okay. It's almost sounding like I'm better than. I don't mean to come off like that. Okay. But so then I get into, Marvin and Sal. Sal guy, he's from New York. He comes over. We don't talk about nothing. His wife Engram, he died. Joe G died. Both Marvins died. These people, most of my old friends passed away. They're dead, and I love them. I'm not going to deny that. Okay. So if you were in Alcoholics Anonymous and you had some true loving friends, comment, say, yeah, I had some, or say, hey, Bobby, you're bullshit. Now you're talking the other side of your mouth and I'm not, I want to continue deprogramming, continue doing that, but I'm still going to be honest. I'm going to be as honest as I can with my life and my experience of the past. Okay. My friend Boston John is still a friend. There's layers of this cult mentality. There's layers of it. I would probably never have a friend that was a big book thumper and was crazy fanatically. I wouldn't do it. Stay away from him. Snooky, I still call Snooky Scott. I met him in Arizona. Then I moved over here to California and I found a couple, I went to my home and I always picked my home group. I called them home groups. Yeah, I picked it. I wasn't super involved. I'd go. And if I didn't go, and at the end, I'd go in late. I'd avoid the commercials, tell you the truth. Like they say, don't go. In the beginning, sometimes I go early just to chat with people and talk to people and have fun. I used to smoke cigarettes and have fun and talk to them. And then I'd leave late and hang around with them at the end of the meeting. They always say the meeting was before and after. Well, there's some truth into that, because the meeting itself, for me, at the end, they sucked at the end. I mean, at the end, I couldn't stand being in a meeting. It went against the essence and my spirit. It went against all my knowledge and wisdom and my conscious awareness. It just went against it. And it did not feel or sound, because words are things, they have vibration and energy. The repetition of words constantly, be careful, be aware of that. I chose really nice people. I didn't like clubs, like I said. I didn't like roundups. I didn't go to roundup speaker. Them roundups, it's all about money. The speakers meetings, the speaker circuits. Oh my God, what an egotistical, toxic environment. Occasionally I went to a big book, like I said, Lonnie, he never went. I never seen him carry a big book or a step book. He still goes to meetings. He went out, and he goes to meetings back here in South Carolina. When I go out, I won't go to a meeting, but we'll have a good time. We'll go fishing, we go hunting, we shoot the gun, we go hiking, we talk about stuff. His wife is lovely. She's not in Al-Anon or any of that stuff. What else did I write down here? We talked about life. We went to dinner. We visited homes. We had softball games. I used to have Christmas parties, karaoke parties. I liked socializing. I got out of that after years and years. I got out of that, but hey, look, I like to party. That doesn't mean I didn't go out and meet other people, other friends. That doesn't mean I didn't seek other healthy relationships outside of AA. And, I just thought I had to say that. Some people are going to take this here and nitpick me and kind of say things that I said and kind of pick. I don't care. Criticize me. I don't really care. Who do I miss here? Jeff M, Marcia, Nana. Nana moved out. I loved her. And she met a gentleman, Marshall, and they fell in love and they got married. And she wasn't deep into it either. I don't even know if she goes to meetings anymore. A lot of these people don't go to meetings anymore. Okay, they found other things outside. They stopped. Who did I forget? Anybody here? Ernie, John? No, I mean, I'm sure I did. It's no question that I did. But the message is, we can't change anybody. We can inspire them. We can help them. I had friends. I chose them. They chose me. It's a cause and effect, consequences of my behavior with my friends. I chose meetings. It shows you the power of choice. I mean, you'll actually, if you listen to enough of these podcasts from not just me, from other people, you'll realize how much power you have, okay? Because of mentalism. It's the first principle of the Hermetic principle, the first Hermetic principle, mentalism. Check it out. It all comes from up here. It's all centered. They say it centers in the mind. Look, alcohol is but a symptom. Yeah, that's true. It is. But when they say, oh, you're suffering with the ism, alcoholism, all this other shit, that just means that I'm emotionally immature and I had to grow up. I had to the main thing is becoming responsible. And did I learn many things? I learned so much. I learned so many different things, procrastination. But I went outside and learned most of these things I learned from outside. And there's things that I learned from inside too. I'm not denying that. Okay. There's some things that I learned, but as you see me break down the big book, the step book, the 12, 12, the 12, the concepts, you'll see how I deprogram it. Okay. You'll see how I create my own version of anything. I don't care what it is, even if it's smart recovery. If anyone has I'm over here in Fountain Valley in Huntington Beach, California. If you know of any space, I wanted to create a atmosphere for alternative programs. Not programs, please. I'm sorry, I use that word. Alternative places to meet that we have some like-minded consciousness, maybe start a recovery dharma or a smart meeting or any other, talk about harm reduction, talk about any type of method you use that worked for you. I don't care if it's, it could be the Sinclair method, any type of other alternatives. I have my own beliefs about it, and I'm very careful with the government. Okay. And I don't believe in two Democratic or Republican same wing of the same bird. I don't believe in none of that crap. Government just means control, mind control. So I'm deprogramming. Stay tuned with the next podcast. I hope I got some things out, but boy, it's painful to be close, have people close to you, and they don't want help. But when they want help, it's so beautiful to be able to share your wisdom and knowledge. It's almost like a gift. You want to use the word God. It's like I am God. God gave me, the universe gave me this. I pass it on. That person's either willing to take it on or not. That's their choice, the power of choice through their mind and their decisions and their desires. It's up to them, but it's still painful when that occurs, when they keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Oh, there's another thing. But, I don't have to be ashamed of using certain words because they've been programmed into my head, and some of them I could change them and, still make sense. But be careful. If you really need some detox, go get detox for a few days. If you're going into a rehab, go into the rehab. They're going to get you programmed. Start listening to some other podcasts. If you have to go in, you got to get your card signed and stuff like that through the courts. You got to do it because the court system, no separation of church and state. The government gets involved and sends you to Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. So if you're doing that, listen to some podcasts and stay on that bottom level, that cult program bottom level. Don't go up to the top with the fanatical big book. Everybody will say, some people will say, well, that's where it is. If you're not doing the 12 steps, you're not working the program. Don't believe that crap. You're gonna die, go to jail. If there are people that are going to die, this addiction crap is real. There's people that will die. There's people that will go to. Let's not deny that. Let's not deny that people aren't going to go in jail because of drugs and alcohol. Let's not deny that people aren't going to be put in institutions and mental hospitals and mental institutions through this shit. I know personally, okay, that happens. I can't deny it. I can't say that that's not true. Is it true for? No. No. Can it happen? Yeah. Can it not happen? Yeah. Cause and effect. We actually create it. We create our own suffering. We create our own solutions and we create our own suffering. No matter what, we create it. We have the power of choice. Please subscribe. I want to get past this 667, 668. If not, if these podcasts aren't reaching anybody and that people don't really, I'm not helping anybody. I'm helping myself. I know that because I enjoy doing it. So I probably will continue it even if I don't get more subscribers. But please pass it on. Subscribe. Pass it on. Maybe if you know of a friend that kind of thinks like me. And that's not, I'm not ambivalent about it. But I'm trying to be truthful enough to say that just because you're going to alcohol, listen to my podcast. I never badmouth the people. in Alcoholics Anonymous. Are there some assholes in alcohol? Yes. Are there some 13-step predators? Yes. Are there some bad people in alcohol? Yes, but there's bad people everywhere. There's bad people all over. And watch out for the passive aggressive. Okay. Watch out for the narcissistic passive aggressive people that are doing programs, creating these different programs. See if you can confront them and question them without pushback. Are they acting the exact same as any AA cult member when you question them? Or they always have an answer for you? Watch it. Watch out passive aggressiveness and that narcissistic, because there's people that are pushing other programs that are toxic. They're pushing toxic ideology too. So be careful. Talk to you on the rebound. Take care. Love yous all. I'm going to stop recording. Here we go. Bye-bye. As Bobby C sees it,